Hi everyone. So today I wanted to talk about mental health. I've talked about mental health a fair bit on my channel, primarily focusing on my own personal issues with anger and depression, but I've also talked about other problems that I have with body dysmorphic disorder. And I just recently came to the realization that I haven't been dealing with these problems in the most productive way. I've been letting these problems control my thoughts and behavior, and it's only made things worse for me. I'll get into more detail later on, but I've constantly been trying to just find an easy way out, temporary relief, and I've just been going about things the wrong way. So I thought I'd just share some things that I recently learned, and hopefully, the story, some of this information, might help some of you deal with your own personal problems, whatever they might be. So this whole story begins with me rereading through Berzerk. I'm a huge fan of the Berzerk manga. I highly recommend everyone read it. It's an amazing, inspirational, and motivational story. And basically, the plot of Berzerk, this is a very, very simplistic breakdown, but the plot of Berzerk, it follows a guy named Guts, and it's a revenge story. Guts is on a quest for revenge against demons who killed all of his friends and severely harmed the woman he loves, so he just wants to get revenge on these demons. And while Guts is on this quest for revenge, hunting down demons, he ends up meeting this girl named Jill. And Jill is really badly physically abused by her father. She's even sexually abused by some of the men in town. And on top of that, her best friend has become this evil demon who's killing innocent people. And Guts is forced to fight and kill her best friend, who is now this, evil demon. And after this whole ordeal happens, after she sees her best friend get killed, she can't really handle her life anymore. She doesn't want to go back to her abusive home, where she's not really loved or appreciated. She'd rather travel with this guy, Guts, who is obviously extremely physically strong. He can protect her, and he has actually showed that he cares about her. But Guts won't allow that. He tells her, you know what, you think your life is bad now. Take a look at my life. Guts is cursed. He's constantly hunted down by demons, and he basically just tells her, like, look, if you follow me, things aren't going to be any easier for you. And this one quote, this is the third time I've read through the story, it just clicked for me for some reason. Guts says, there's no paradise for you to escape to. And again, this is the third time I've read through the Berzerk manga, but for whatever reason, after reading through this the third time and seeing that quote, it really stuck out to me, and I realized I'm doing the same thing where I try to escape to some paradise that isn't actually there, and at best, all it does is give me some sort of temporary relief, but really, all it does is put me into a deeper pit of despair, and one big way that I do this, where I try to just find some sort of stupid temporary escape from my issues, is with food. I've done this since I was a young kid, where if I feel depressed or if I just feel crappy in general, I'll use food to cope with my issues. And, temporarily, yeah, I'll get a bump in mood. I'll feel better because of all the, feel-good chemicals that, go to your brain after you eat a lot of sugar and fatty processed crap. But then not long after that, you feel like crap again because you just ate a bunch of junk food. You feel regretful. And then you just want to eat more junk food because you feel like crap again. And then, eventually, if you keep going down this path, you end up gaining unwanted weight. And for somebody like me who's really like body conscious, again, I mentioned that I suffer from body dysmorphic disorder, it really affects me mentally, and then I feel really freaking crappy, and then I want to binge more, and it turns into this vicious cycle where I just get more and more depressed and feel crappier and crappier and crappier. I've gotten better at dealing with this in recent years. It's still an ongoing issue, but I remember in high school, like early high school, it really got out of control. I was on a swim team, and I ended up getting really severely bullied, and then to deal with all of that, like I really started binging, and I gained a lot of weight from grade 10 to 11. When I finally decided to lose weight, I had to lose over 60 pounds from grade 10 to 11. So I got fat as hell from doing that, and man, I was just miserable. It's gotten better recently, but again, it's still an ongoing issue where, like, occasionally I'll get these bouts of depression, and then I'll just be an idiot, and I'll let my emotional issues just control my behavior, and I'll try to just escape to some sort of paradise that isn't there, where I think, okay, if I just eat some junk food, I'll feel better, when no, it's only a temporary relief, and if I do it, I just feel worse. Another way that I've tried to escape my issues is with sadism. I discovered sadism at a pretty young age, and I played contact sports, I played hockey, and I'd not only start fights with people on the ice, but I'd start fights with people off the ice, any chance or opportunity I got. If I felt depressed or angry, or if I was in a crappy mood, I'd try to start a fight with anybody. I remember in hockey practices, even when nobody was really doing anything to me, I'd just randomly ram into somebody, try to hurt them, beat them up. Again, not a productive way to deal with things, and especially, moving into adulthood, you can get into some serious trouble when you do that kind of crap. And another common way that I just try to escape things is I just completely shut down, where I just become emotionally dead inside. When I just feel overwhelmed, I'll just become like a shell of a human being, and I won't feel anything. I won't respond to anything. I won't talk. I just won't do anything, and I just suppress all of my emotions. And again, doesn't really do anything for me. It doesn't deal with the problem, and if it does anything, all it really ends up doing is putting strain on my relationships. So I wanted to talk about this today in that specific quote because it's made me realize that I can't run away. All of these issues that I have with depression, anxiety, anger, childhood trauma, body dysmorphic disorder, like over the years, things might improve. I might get better, but these are going to be ever present issues, and they're not going away. There's nothing that you can do to escape this. There's no escape from sadness or anger or any emotional problem that you have. I'm kind of fortunate. I never ended up relying on like drug use to deal with some of my problems. I do know some people in my personal life, and we've seen some people online who've done this. I've known some kids that I grew up with where they were mistreated when they were children, they were abused. They ended up turning to drugs, and now their lives are messed up because of it. Rich Piana, this definitely happened to Rich Piana, and he's gone now. He was very open about his body dysmorphic disorder and how he felt super insecure and self-conscious constantly. And he'd do this where, at first he'd turn to steroids to try to deal with that insecurity. Then when steroids didn't work, he took more steroids, and, still that wasn't enough. And then he ended up getting like implants and PMMA injections. That wasn't good enough. Then he ended up just resorting to doing drugs, that like party drugs. That didn't work. And, eventually the dude ended up dead. So a lot of us do this sort of thing, and I just wanted to make this video just to, like, this seems obvious now that I think about it, but there's no escape for these problems. There's no cure for sadness. There's no cure for any of this. It's just an ever-present issue that you're going to have to deal with this. And these dumb ways that we try to escape, whether it be with food or, I don't know, starting fights with people or drugs or anything, it's not going to make your life any better. If anything, it's going to make it worse, and you're just going to fall into a deeper and deeper pit of despair until it might even end up killing you. But at the very least, it will reduce your quality of life. So I'm going to make a change. I'm not going to let my problems dictate my behavior anymore, and I'm going to do things that are in my best interest, even if it hurts. And yeah, I mean, these are behaviors and patterns that you develop over a long period of time. It's hard to deal with these emotional issues, but it's better for me to not do these things, to not eat junk food, not pick fights, not shut down emotionally. In the end, it's just going to be better for me, and I'm going to be a happier and more productive person for it. And I'd encourage all of you to do the same. Don't let your personal problems, your emotional issues, or whatever dictate your behavior, and don't try to escape these problems. Face your problems, and again, you'll just become a stronger, more productive, happier person for it. So, hope that helps. I just wanted to share that with you today. And again, read Berserk. You might get a lot from it. Even if you're not into manga and comics and reading and all that, it's definitely worth a read. And as always, keep making those vegan and mental health gains.